Hey guys, and welcome on into the next NHL offseason preview show. Today I'm going to be talking all about the Edmonton Oilers, taking a look at what they have to do in the offseason. We'll take a look at their draft picks and management, free agents, forwards, defensemen, and goaltending, as well as my offseason tasks for the Oilers to get accomplished this offseason. Make sure to hit the like button if you guys enjoy the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Tons of NHL content coming still throughout the summer. I'm going to be doing some history videos, some and other kinds of videos. And then we'll, of course, get to the season preview shows in September, taking a look at Stanley Cup odds and all that fun stuff in September. So lots of hockey content coming heading into next season. And with that being said, we are going to jump right into the first segment here for the Edmonton Oilers, which is draft picks and management. Stan Bowman and Chris Knobloch return as general manager and head coach. I don't foresee any changes there. Back-to-back Stanley Cup final appearances for this Oilers team. You don't think that they would be making a lot of changes when it comes to the head office and coaching. Taking a look at draft picks. And, well, as you would expect with a team that like I said, has made the Stanley Cup finals in back-to-back years, they don't have a lot of draft picks, which is totally expected. No first or second round pick, no fourth or fifth round pick. They do have the St. Louis Blues third round pick, and they have their own sixth and seventh round picks. So the Oilers are not scheduled to be doing a ton of drafting here at the draft, but of course they may look to make some trades heading into the draft and at the draft to potentially get some more draft picks, free up some cap space. The Oilers could be a team, despite making the Stanley Cup finals in back-to-back years, they could be a team that looks to make some changes here at the draft and through free agency. Taking a look at the free agents here for the Edmonton Oilers, approximately $11.9 million in cap space for Edmonton, and their number one most important player to get re-signed is their only RFA that was played on the roster last year. All teams have other RFAs, obviously, in the minors, but Bouchard, the main RFA here for the Oilers. And if he's signed to a long-term deal, he is likely going to command a large majority of that $11.9 million in cap space for this Oilers team, which is not going to leave them a whole lot left to make other moves. And when you look at a lot of the UFAs on this list, if they're going to be willing to take cheap short-term deals, the Oilers could look to re-sign them if they feel there's like good chemistry there. Of course, Corey Perry, I think, will be a sought-after free agent on the market, despite being 40 years old, just with how he played, obviously, in the regular season and then in the playoffs. So I think some team might end up paying him too much. We'll have to see what happens there. Jeff Skinner, I think, definitely will get a contract somewhere. It'll just depend on where. And then the other guys at the bottom likely either get re-signed here with Edmonton for cheap deals or find their way into the bottom parts of lineups on some other teams here. Connor Brown could be interesting. I think the Oilers could try to re-sign him, of course, if they have cap space available. Taking a look at the forward group for the Edmonton Oilers, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, and Vasily Podkolzin. Evander Kane, Leon Draisaitl, and Zach Hyman. That is a very good top six. Obviously, you wouldn't expect this Oilers team to have issues in the top six when you've got Draisaitl and McDavid there. They do have, obviously, guys around them that can produce as well. Hyman may or may not be ready for the start of training camp, so that will be to be determined. On the third line, Victor Arvidsson, Adam Henrique, and Matthew Savoy. Obviously, Matthew Savoy, young player. I'll be looking to try to make this lineup. So we'll see if he does. You've got the fourth line, Max Jones, Matthias Janmark, and Noah Phillip, and of course Drake Kajula as well. Depth guys here on this fourth line. When I look at this Oilers team, and when I look at how, and they just lost in the Stanley Cup, and obviously Oilers fans don't want to be reminded about that, but obviously we're going to talk about it here in this offseason. How I look at, they played against the Florida Panthers. They were just outmatched. They were just outmatched by the Florida Panthers. And the Edmonton Oilers have two of the best players in this league, but they were still outmatched by the Florida Panthers' depth. So this Oilers team, I do think that they need to try to correct that and try to add some more pieces here in this forward group to try to compete with this Florida Panthers team, assuming they make the Stanley Cup Finals again. It would not shock me to see it happen 3 years in a row. But this Oilers team is going to have to – they're going to have to make some improvements, I think, if they want to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals again. And, of course, cap space will be a situation. So do they look at a guy like Evander Kane and try to move him? Or do they possibly look at Victor Arvidsson? Do they look at some guys here in the defense? The Oilers may have to make some trades in order to improve their lineup with how it's set up at this current moment. UFAs available. Obviously, Brad Marchand would be an excellent fit with this Edmonton Oilers team. He's exactly the type of player they need, but they can't afford him. If he's leaving Florida, if he's going out to another team, he's going to get a good contract somewhere. Edmonton's just not going to happen, I don't think. They could look at a guy like Jonathan Drouin, but again, he's going to be expensive. So in order to add a guy in this list, the Oilers are going to have to move another contract, or I don't want to say they don't see Evan Bouchard in the long-term plans, because that would be pretty crazy if they move on from Evan Bouchard. But obviously, he is going to command a large portion of that cap space available. So if they have trouble signing him, if an offer sheet came about, I don't know what would happen. We saw what happened obviously the players last year, Dylan Holloway and is a different situation here than Evan Bouchard, but who knows? Taking a look at the center group here, kind of the same deal with what I just kind of said. The Oilers, in this current situation they're in, I can't see them adding any of these top UFAs or RFAs because they just don't have the cap space available to do it unless they move out a player. The RFAs here, Corey Perry, he is number 6 when it comes to top UFAs available when it comes to points. 30 points last year. You see the big drop-off, Marner to Kane, and then down we go here. So if the Oilers can bring Perry back, I would look to do that. But it's going to come down to money. Top RFAs available. Obviously, Bouchard is the number 1 defenseman available. Noah Dobson, Bowen Byram, the next one. So if a team like the San Jose Sharks want a stud defenseman, and that's what they need, I could see a team like San Jose offering Bouchard a large contract and putting the Oilers in a very difficult position. But that brings us to the defense. Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, a top defensive pair. Darnell Nurse, questionable when it comes to fans. So some fans do like him. A lot of fans do not like him. A very high contract. That's kind of what he's known for, is his expensive cap hit. Brett Kulak, I think more of a third line guy. Jake Wallman, I like him. that was a good addition for the Oilers. Troy Stetcher, Josh Brown, depth guys as well. I do think the Oilers could look to add a defenseman here in that bottom four just to add depth. And I would consider trying to potentially move Darnell Nurse and his cap hit. Now, of course, that will be a lot easier said than done. Who would come back? It would be a tricky deal to get done, that's for sure. But the Oilers need to try to free up cap space somehow. So that'll be something they have to look at here. Defenseman available. Obviously, there's guys in this list the Oilers could go after. I don't, at this point in time, they can't really afford any of the top guys in this list. They could bring back Cody Ceci. And Nate Schmidt's available. There's some cheaper options here, but a lot of the other guys I think might be a little bit more expensive for this Oilers team. And that brings us to the goaltending. And, people may agree with me, people may disagree with me, but if this Edmonton Oilers team wants to beat Florida next year or wants to beat any team that they could potentially face in the Stanley Cup Finals next year, you need to have a better goaltender because you just don't have the depth throughout this lineup in order to take on a team like Florida. We've seen it. And people might say, last year, Game 7, it still went 6 games this year. Yes, but Florida blew a 3-0 lead where Edmonton got the 4-3 overtime win. If you take that out, Florida's pretty much dominated this series. If you watch these games, the Florida Panthers dominated the Oilers. So if the Oilers can't drastically improve their depth, they need to have a goalie stand on his head. And they need a goalie that will stand on his head. Stuart Skinner at times during the playoffs was fantastic. Calvin Pickard, again, he was also fantastic at times. But you can't continue to roll out these goalies and expect them to – you can't expect these two goalies to perform as they did in this playoffs again next year. I don't think that's a realistic expectation. And then you can't expect it to last the entire playoffs either. Because as you see, once you face a team like Florida, they were just dominated. So goaltending, the Oilers need to focus. They need to go and they need to get a starting goaltender. Obviously, how you afford that, you're going to have to trade. You're going to have to look at trading a guy like Evander Kane. I don't want to say Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but potentially him or potentially Darnell Nurse. You need to free up some cap space. You need to get a goaltender. Looking at goaltenders available, I don't know if any of the UFAs on this list are going to solve the Oilers' problems. I think some of these guys would just be replacing one problem with another problem. RFAs are interesting. If I'm the Oilers, I would be looking at trying to potentially get a young RFA goaltender. I think that could be the way to go. Arvid Soderblom could be interesting. Of course, he's had really bad times in Chicago, but he's played for Chicago. I think if you do put him on a better team, I think he could be a guy that potentially could have potential. Lucas Dostal, I absolutely love him, but I don't think Anaheim's going to give him up. So the Oilers have to figure out their goaltending situation, but it's not an easy situation to just fix. That's why they've obviously dealt with it for so long. Dale Vladar would be interesting, but none of these guys on the UFA goaltending list is a Vasilevsky or a Shesterkin. None of them are a number one goalie that you can just bring in and you're set. like a Jacob Markstrom type deal. The Oilers need a goalie. They need a goalie. My offseason tasks for the Edmonton Oilers. 1, re-sign Evan Bouchard. He's your best offensive defenseman, a young defenseman, a huge part of your future. Get him re-signed. We'll have to see what the cap hit is, but it's going to be a high one. Unless they can get him to take some kind of discount, which would be exactly what the Oilers need, is to get him to take a discount of some kind so that they can have cap space to sign other players. Trade for a quality goaltender. Why am I saying trade? Well, because, like I said, those UFAs that are available, I don't think any of them you can just say, yeah, that's the guy. He'll fix the goaltending problems. He'll be a huge upgrade from Stuart Skinner, and he'll win the cup. I don't think there's a goalie on that list that will do that. So the Oilers, I think, need to acquire a goalie by trade that can help them. Add a fourth line forward. Third line, fourth line. I think they need some depth there in the bottom 6. And of course, I could add another top 6 forward. I could bolster the defense, which the defense could use some work as well. I should have had that here as a fourth task to add a defenseman of some kind. But as I said multiple times, it's difficult with the cap situation that the Oilers are in right now to add players. So we will have to see what the Oilers do this offseason. If you guys like the video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let me know in the comments below, what do you think the Oilers need to do this offseason to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals a third time, but this time hoist the cup and bring it back to Canada. Let me know in the comments below, and we will see you guys on the final NHL offseason preview show, which will be coming up right after this one, the Florida Panthers. Thanks for watching, guys.